GM, good morning. Welcome to the Milk Road Show, the daily crypto show where we unpack blockchain trends faster than a meme coin skyrocketing and dumping. I'm your host, Jay Hamilton, and today we're joined by legendary crypto investor Lark Davis. In today's show, we're asking the question that I know is on everyone's mind right now, which is Uptober still on? What the heck is going on? And when are we going to finally see the pump that we've been talking about for so long? We're going to jump into some jobs data, some macro stuff. We're going to talk about conflict and what that could do to the crypto markets. And then we're going to end with some predictions. Before we jump in, are you going to permissionless this week? The Milk Road team, myself included, will be there, and we'd love to meet you. So if you're going to be there, throw a comment at us and let us know so we can meet you. If you're not going to be there and you want to join, we got a 30% off discount code just for you guys, MILK30. Hit the link in the show notes to buy your ticket today. Would love to see you there. Also, we are almost at 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, and we need your guys' help getting there. So please subscribe today. I don't expect you to subscribe for free, though. We're going to hook you guys up. We're giving away a bunch of free stuff. So check out the show notes, but make sure you subscribe on YouTube and you could win free stuff. All right. Without further ado, Lark, welcome to today's show.
How's it going, man? Mudang, of course, has been the new to Paradigm Money recently. Who'd have thought that a small little baby hippo in Thailand would be worth inspiration for a meme coin to go to $300 million plus? This market's crazy, man.
This market's crazy. It's so crazy. Lark, other than meme coins, which we will touch on later in the show, because how can you not right now? They're all pumping. Where are we at from a macro perspective? What came out of macro news last week that you were paying attention to?
Yeah, macro has been very interesting last week because we've got a lot of good and bad things happening. And it's crazy to see how the market has priced both big events. And I think the two big things we'd probably want to talk about would be the Iran-Israel conflict. Mm-hmm. We saw the price take a pretty big tank on that, particularly when Iran threw some missiles over at Israel. The markets didn't like it at all. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the thought is, well, okay, now Israel's going to retaliate. What's that going to mean for the Straits of Hormuz and the oil? And if Iran's oil fields get hit or Iran's production facilities get hit, what could that do to the price of oil? Send it skyrocketing. It's bad news for basically everything everywhere. 30 or 40% of the world's oil flows out of the Persian Gulf here. So it's a big concern for investors, but it's one of those funny things. It just keeps not happening. Mm-hmm. How many years? I've been studying political science for a long time. I've been an investor in the market for a long time. And the amount of times that I have heard there's going to be a big war in Iran and the Straits of Hormuz are going to be shut down and all the Persian Gulf oil production is going to stop. I mean, it just keeps not happening. Maybe we're closer to it happening than we have been before, but usually there's a bunch of saber rattling, some tit for tat, and then nothing too much happens. So let's hope, fingers crossed, that ends up being the case and we're not on the edge of some massive major conflict that does have a massive impact on the price of oil. Because if that happens, welcome back inflationary forces, because it would get real nasty real fast, because guess what? Everything in your modern world depends on the price of oil, right? Okay, so that's one thing. Markets didn't like that. They got spooked quite a bit by that, but we did get saved by the 200-day EMA, so yay for that. Now, the second thing that came out that markets really liked was the jobs data. So in the US, we saw the jobs data come in very positively. We had unemployment drop from 4.2 down to 4.1%. We got up to 4.3%, I think, back in August. And what's very interesting is that this number, we're near historic lows. A standard range for unemployment is between 4 and 6%. It's currently going down. I've seen some criticism, but there's a lot of government jobs. It's still jobs, dude. It's still jobs. So at the end of the day, we are seeing unemployment trending downwards. And with the total number of new jobs added came in well above expectations, came at about 250,000. Expectations were around 220 or something like that. It was a big win for the jobs markets, which is, of course, going to be good for just markets overall. Put a lot of optimism back in. I mean, where's the recession at, man? I know there's been a lot of things that have been scaring for recession for a long time. We've talked about those things here, and those are valid concerns to have. But when you keep seeing this economic data come in, you can't stay in one sort of mindset for all times, because that's how you get in big trouble in markets. Oh, so everything's going to be bearish, and I'm just going to stick to that attitude forever. You see people who've been nonstop bears for years, and they just get trashed. It's crazy. Jobs data is good. CPI, the inflation's coming down as long as there's no big war in the Middle East. We're seeing the rates falling. Papa Powell is probably going to cut another 25 basis points at the next meeting. So everything's heading in the right direction. US GDP growth predicted for 3% this quarter. And with all that happening, global M2 money supply breaking out, China printing like crazy. We haven't even talked since all the China crazies happened, man. Holy cow. China has injected hundreds of billions into its economy. Everything is lining up for Uptober to resume.
So why hasn't it?
Well, it's interesting. I saw a guy who did some great research today. He said that something like 8 out of the 10 last Octobers, you've had this sort of dip in price in the first few days of October, followed by the rest of the month actually ending up being pretty bullish. So look, whether October literally happens or not, historically, October is a real thing. Let's just put it that way. There's a seasonality in markets, and October tends to actually happen. November, December, something like basically anytime you have an election year, October, November, December tend to be bullish months. When you have a month where September has been bullish, and our September was bullish, you have basically October, November, December being bullish months. Now, we all know past performance cannot indicate future performance, right? But markets do rhyme because human emotions rhyme. We are the investors. We are the ones reacting to all the stuff we see in the markets at the end of the day. And so it puts a lot of fuel on the fire for the fact that we could have a very bullish end of year. Now, maybe it's not the most bullish October in the history of Octobers. There's always that possibility, but it still could be a very good October.
So when you step back and look at where things are at right now, because as you said, and we talked about this last week on the show with multiple guests, it's just everything is lining up for Banana Zone, for Uptober, for whatever term you want to use. Everything looks good right now. And I kind of feel like I just want everyone to know that we're not pulling your chain. Like we're not trying to misguide you. Like it really is looking that good. I feel like a broken record because we've been saying it for a month now, and it looked like we were getting the pump towards the end of September. And then, as you said, the conflict in Iran escalated, and okay, now all of a sudden things have tamed down. Do you think that we are going to go here at some point? It's just a question of maybe it's October, maybe it has to wait until November. Is the election the thing that's maybe holding us back? I can't think anymore other than the conflict in Iran clearly scaring people. I just can't figure out what else would be holding us back at this point.
There's not really a lot. And that's the interesting thing is, yeah, there's always potential for some crazy to happen in the world, right? We had the big port workers strike the other week as well, which was threatened, and then they stepped back, and then we had the big hurricane, which is basically flooded 4 entire states, which is a total mess. Now there's another hurricane coming. There's always going to be something happening. This is the thing. This is the world. There's always some crazy shit happening, right? But markets tend to, in the very short term, price those one way or the other. But in the long term, or even the medium term, markets tend not to care so much about this stuff unless it's some really big, crazy stuff that happens. But even war breaking out and stuff like that tends to have very short-lived impact on markets. And when you zoom out and you actually see the big picture, none of this stuff really matters that much. I don't think the US election, here's the funny thing about the US election, especially for the crypto markets, no matter what happens, it's going to be okay. Now, as we've discussed before, because of all the policy positions and stuff like that, Donald Trump currently appearing to be a much better, more pro-crypto candidate. Rumors currently running around crypto Twitter that the next head of the SEC is likely to be the former head of compliance or something over at Robinhood. So a very pro-crypto guy. If that's the case, then fantastic, right? But even if Harris gets elected, it's probably still going to be okay. It's just not going to be as good as it could be from a regulatory perspective, right? Look at what Bitcoin and crypto has done in spite of one of the most aggressive attacks of any administration in the history of crypto, right? So there's that to consider as well. So I guess outside of World War III breaking out, or I don't know, some kind of black swan, monkeypox or something like that, we're probably going to be okay. I just got your video demonetized, by the way. You're welcome.
Thanks. Okay, so when it does come, how will it flow into crypto? Because that's the other big question on everybody's everybody's mind is, will we see an altcoin season? Will the alts have, some of the alts have been doing well. Don't get me wrong. The past month, they've been doing well. But so far this cycle, if you go back a year, basically, if you were to consider that we've been in this cycle for about a year, we've seen really Bitcoin dominance continue to do really well. And then meme coins have just crushed it through the first 6 months of the year, maybe not so much the last 6 months, the last sideways chop. Where do you think the money's going to flow this time for the rest of this year?
Sure. Look, meme coins are the story of the cycle, without a doubt. And if you've been fading meme coins, you've been leaving money on the table. And I probably should have deployed even more money to meme coins. I feel like I've taken big risks by putting 6, 7, 8% of my portfolio into meme coins. I should have done 30% when in hindsight, right? And it's amazing to see just how much the tokenized culture communities, the cults essentially, have really just seen wild money be made. And I know there's a lot of insider games, there's a lot of BS and all that kind of stuff. But the reality is, if you can catch one of these fast moving trains early enough, you're going to make big money. And at the end of the day, as exciting as crypto is, as amazing as technology is, the vast majority of people are coming here to do just that, to make money. And so you might take something like some of these great big tech things, right? We had Eigenlayer come out recently, and in the last few months, we've had Layer Zero, we've had Wormhole. I mean, these are great pieces of crypto technology that are fundamental to the entire blockchain space. And they come out with massive valuations, very low floats, and huge amounts of investor money, VC money still to come in. We've seen increasingly egregious tokenomic situations. Celestia is a great example. Now, Celestia, fantastic technology, but it's a great example of this. Literally, they're letting the VCs stake their vested tokens. I think it was Paradigm, maybe. They've invested $20 million, and they've so far received $80 million of staking rewards before they even get their first token unlocked.
Jesus.
The system is crazy right now. And your average investor's looking at this stuff and they're going, I got to understand all this nerdy tech bullshit. And then I got to deal with all these VC unlocks and all this kind of stuff. And it just, the odds are stacked against the average investor. And then they see meme coins. They're more honest. Yeah, there's those cabals and there's insider baseball and all that kind of stuff. But you can go on a decentralized exchange. You can buy it and make your best case for it. Fully diluted tokens. There's no, 95% supply dumped on you or any of this kind of stuff. So I can see why meme coins have taken off. It's the same kind of hype and narrative and easy to understand concept that NFTs had back in the day, right? It's just a picture of something with liquidity, essentially.
The struggle with meme coins is just the lack of fundamentals, right? Like, what the heck is it? How are you approaching your meme coin strategy? Any particular tokens or particular chains that you're focused on? Are you going more blue chip? We had a great conversation with Joe McCann last week where he broke meme coins down into sort of like 3 categories. Talked about the blue chips. He talked about sort of like maybe the middle of the pack could grow to blue chips, but they're not quite there yet. And then he talked about what he would call the shitters, which are the ones that are, really high risk. Maybe it goes, maybe it's nothing. Anyways, curious how you break it down.
That's a really good way to approach it. And the funny thing with the conversation around meme coins not having any fundamental value, it's true. But then I would challenge you, what is the fundamental value of a lot of cryptocurrencies? How many governance tokens are out there? Like, I'm going to govern the platform. Yeah, okay, have fun. You're not going to govern the platform. Nobody cares. Unless you're actually getting real money paid out somehow in non-inflationary tokenomics. I mean, when he does start diving into tokenomics, the fundamental value question gets real gray real fast. There's some very clear things like maybe Aave or Trader Joe or a few others, Aerodrome Finance, that have very clear tokenomics that pay people to hold. And there's a real reason to hold their tokens because you make money. The vast majority of the cryptocurrencies, though, are hoping that someday they're going to have a network effect, or someday that someone's going to use enough of their things, there's going to be a burn mechanism, or any of this kind of BS. Where's the fundamentals? They're simply not there. And then you have to still deal with all the other tokenomic BS. So fundamentals is an interesting question when it comes to memes. Now, how I allocate, I feel like I should allocate more money to memes, and I might over time. But right now, I like the idea of the blue chips, right? Looking at sort of big stuff, and I don't own like Pepe, for example. I've thought back and forth, should I buy some Pepe, should I not buy some Pepe? My biggest sort of what I would consider to be a blue chip would be Brett. So Brett is the biggest meme coin on Base. And it's essentially a bet that the Base ecosystem is going to continue to perform very well, that the hype for Base will continue to grow. So I've got Brett and I've got Aerodrome Finance, the two biggest basically native assets to the Base chain. But I also think that Base more broadly is going to do incredibly well. So I've got Benji, which is the dog of Base. I have Miggles, which is the cat of Base, rumored to be Brian Armstrong's cat. I don't know if that's true or not. I guess we'll find out someday. But these are much lower cap things, right? So if you look at the percentage of my portfolio, it's probably in terms of total meme coin allocation, it's probably 50% Brett and then 4 or 5 others that make up the other 50%. So I've got Foxy on Linea as well. Now, the interesting thing, and I like Foxy. I think it's a nice meme, a wholesome meme. It's interesting to consider how some of these memes might do on these sort of more exotic chains, right? Linea, for example, more exotic chain, right? Less common, less used layer 2. We're seeing a lot of different memes pop up all over the place, right? And one of the hard things is, where are the users at? Where are people actually aping money into memes? So we've seen, of course, Solana be very successful. We've seen Base be pretty successful. AVAX, Avalanche has had some success with memes. Obviously, Ethereum, the OG, right, has had Pepe and Shiba Inu and stuff like this pop up on it. But now we're seeing some of the newer chains like Sui. We had Hippo, I know the Hippo meta. You blink for 5 minutes in crypto, and suddenly there's new animal meta. It's going to be
what's the Hippo
fabulous
meta? I don't even know what the Hippo meta is.
Man. Anyway, so Hippo came out, and it went from 0 to 200 million or something like that within the space of 3 or 4 days, 5 days, something like this. So that one winning meme might be enough to drive enough interest into the Sui blockchain more broadly, get more money coming on chain, and it becomes sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Oh, Sui memes do good because this one did good and everybody keeps saving money in. So it'll be interesting to see which chains can actually build real communities and real cults around meme coins.
Yeah, for everybody listening in, if you haven't listened to our Sui episode yet, go back and check that out. It's not about meme coins on Sui. It's just about whether Sui is a good investment and how to think about it for the rest of this cycle. Lark, why not invest in WIF or Pepe or Bonk? I'm curious why you chose not to buy these. I mean, Brett is obviously a blue chip, but not at the level of those other blue chips.
Yeah, I still might. I feel like, part of it has just been ego, right? I missed the train. It should have got in earlier. Gets the best of us, right? And I still may. It was always a struggle for me with adding new coins to the portfolios. It's like 20 coins, 22 coins or something right now. My active portfolio, all the pre-sale investment stuff. Like, gosh darn, how many coins do I actually need to have to be successful, right? I don't need to add another 10 coins, another 5 million coins, right? If Pepe goes from 4 billion to 40 billion, well, my Aerodrome bag is probably going to do the same. So in terms of, risk and reward, is it worth it adding to that new position, right? But I have thought, like, gosh darn, my ETH bags have been doing like nothing recently, man. Maybe it's time to take some of that ETH and put it down into some ETH beta plays like Pepe. Haven't pulled the trigger yet, but I like the Pepe meme. I think it's very funny. It would probably be one of the ones that I'd look at personally. Obviously, dog with hat. It's the bleeding edge of all meme coin technology. I mean, they took a dog and they put a hat on it, and you can't really compete with that, to be honest. I mean, what are you going to do after that?
So let's just talk about your Brett trade. What's your plan for that trade? How do you approach? I think that's the thing, is a lot of our listeners are going to be more hesitant to get into meme coins, and you should be, everybody listening.
Sure, absolutely.
Because it's definitely a different trade than a Bitcoin or an Ethereum or Solana or a more of a major trade. How would you treat, what would be your plan for let's just say your Brett trade, for example?
Sure, absolutely. So with Brett, I took a very little amount of money off back in August in order to defend my liquidation positions. But otherwise, I've kept the vast majority of the bag, like 85, 90% of the bag, completely untouched. And so I look at this and I think, okay, Base is going to go. Brett's the key meme on Base, and they continue to show up, put in the work, and produce really good content and stuff like that. So I'm looking at this like, okay, I'm actually looking at in terms of taking profits on it, right? So I've position sized it. I haven't checked recently, but it's about 3 to 5% given the day of my total portfolio is in Brett. So I look at it as, okay, watch what the broader market is doing. So when Bitcoin gets to like 100K, for example, that's, I think, that signal for me to take probably like a quarter of that off the table. And now by that point, how high will it have run? It'd be interesting to see. I think this is a coin that has potential to go into potentially tens of billions of market cap. It's currently a little bit under $1 billion, I think, at the moment. So it's probably a potential 10, 20, 30x play from here to cycle peak. But to be sort of just diligent with taking profits, when we get to 100K, take about a quarter of that off, 150K, take about a quarter of it off. And if we go up farther than that, take the rest off. If we don't, take the rest off on the move back down so that we guarantee the profits are going to come in. Because here's the thing. I like my Brett bags. I like some other stuff. They're, you know, some of the funny memes. Smoking chicken fish, man. Smoking chicken fish. That's a hilarious meme coin I picked up. Have you seen this? Have you seen this, man? Smoking chicken fish. Right? I got Raoul Pals on board. Arthur Hayes, they're on board. It's basically, so it's a dead chicken with a dead fish stuck in it, smoking a Marlboro. Smoking chicken fish, man. Apparently, it looks like Emma Stone. Anyway,
I'm trying to find it to pull it up here.
It's a very funny meme. So, but stuff like this is totally silly, right? This could go absolutely crazy. There you go. The smoking chicken fish, man. It's actually a church as well, believe it or not.
And it's on Solana.
And it's on Solana. And it's on Solana. But here's the thing. Look, I like memes. I think memes are hilarious. They're the NFTs of this cycle. They're where the hype's going. They're where the excitement's going. They're the cults. And it's easy to understand for normies. So as more normies come into the market, where are they going to go? They're going to buy memes. They're not buying Eigen. I mean, Eigen, great technology, but it's so freaking nerdy, man. Even Chainlink's super nerdy. But I like this smoking chicken fish. That's funny. Oh, hey, this is a picture of a dog. That's funny. This one's got a hat on it. I like that. It's a very simple concept people don't understand. But here's the thing that I want to leave investors with, because I know we're running short on time here. And this is the thing I want to leave investors with. When the bear market comes, 99% of these memes are going to go down by 99.99999%. Liquidity is going to go to zero. And if you do not sell when the retail herd comes in, you're going to lose all your money. Straight up. Maybe a very small fraction of coins are going to survive into the next cycle. The vast majority of them, look back at NFTs, it's going to be the same thing. What do you have that survived from the previous cycle to this cycle? CryptoPunks, Bored Apes, a few others, Doodles, a few other small collections, right? And most of them have not performed very well. I think that in the next bear market, there'll be some great opportunities if you're a big meme person and you're a big meme connoisseur and you understand the value proposition behind memes and the cults behind memes and all that stuff. There's going to be some epic opportunities to buy stuff like Pepe and Dog with Hat and maybe a few of the other memes that really, I think, get real sort of cult status during the cycle. But those would be the only ones I'd consider putting money back into, but they're still going to go down 95% during the bear market, right? So it's really a game of hot potato to an extent with memes. You got to get out, right? Because you don't want to be the guy left holding the bag at the end of the day.
I want to know, everybody listening in, what's the hot potato in your portfolio that you are worried about holding at the end of this? Let us know. What's the hot potato? What's the meme? What's the token you're holding that you're like, oh boy, I don't know when to sell this? Let us know. Comment in YouTube and we'll make sure we talk about that token and how to tell you to treat that trade. Lark, thanks so much for joining us today. As always, appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Have a wicked awesome day, everybody. As always, if you liked today's episode, please hit subscribe and make sure you follow us so you don't miss out on the next one. There's also a link in the description to our free 5-minute daily newsletter where we simplify crypto for you while making you laugh. And if you're willing to step up your crypto investing game, we're going to also leave a link for Milk Road Pro. You get access to our portfolio where you can see exactly what we are buying. This is your number one resource to help you invest successfully in crypto. One final note, this show is for educational purposes only and nothing we say is financial advice. Investing in crypto or any asset is risky and you should never invest more than you can afford to lose. Thanks so much for listening in, my friends. Have a wicked awesome day.